do you think there's money everywhere in the world? If you have anywhere in the world, I will go with you to take the money. Exactly, it's not everywhere in the world. We are stuck with a lot of our projects because we can't get money. Chinese are no longer getting funded. So we're now pursuing money in Europe. You get it? And you know, when I look at the money they are borrowing in other countries, and I compare the kind of money we are borrowing, people are the kind of comment that Nigerians will put you off. And I tomorrow thank and congratulate the president for not listening to anybody. Because if the president had listened to you, like he said, he would have been walking from Lagos to Ibadan. Now, what informed the president's mind in Ibadan is the number of people that were dying in road accidents. Yeah. The road carnage was high. Now he says, okay, so with that kind of high level of road carnage, let me fix the road. Very soon they will say, oh, it's the last past government that started the project. But they won't remember that they awarded the project quite all right, but they didn't fund the project. We started it ourselves. We funded it ourselves, the road project. And typical of the president, we didn't cancel the contract. We didn't say, oh, go, let's appoint our own contractor. No, we retained the contractor, but funded him. Now they're about to finish they're about to finish the Lagos-Ibadan road, just like we have finished the Lagos-Ibadan railway. So you have two alternatives. So you have an alternative. You can take railway, which is cheaper. But if a big man you want to get a car and take you to every place, don't use taxi, then you use your car on the road. I don't know, integration is the business of either the individuals or the state government to plan their transportation system. Our own is to come up with those federal structures that we're supposed to do. Now, for us in the government, we're not looking for southwest, east, west, northwest, north. That's it. It's you, how do I put it? You that are the leaders of the country. The actual leaders of the country are the populace. It's not us, because you can vote us out both. Yeah. Now, why is it people this business of saying southwest, east, west is your business? We are looking at the economy of the country. And I continue to say that somebody who comes from the south, that the first rail line that makes money for the country is Lagos-Kano. Once you fix Lagos-Kano, the next most important rail line is Port Harcourt-Maiduguri. Then the next one will be Lagos-Calabar, which is the south belt. And that's what the president is doing. He's not doing all this thing you're talking about. The federal government's responsibility for transportation is very small. Most people don't know. The reason why God sees as huge is because of railway and aviation. Aviation is out of federal government and actually in the hands of private individuals, right? Yes. And then seaports. But the most important part of transportation, which is the land transportation, the Constitution put it in the hands of the state government. I'm going to Ogun on the 12th to commission their transport plan, master plan. They are buying buses, they are buying a lot of things from what the government told me. That will take, if you're going from Ogun to Lagos, they have buses for you, air condition, Wi-Fi. If those who live in, they are putting buses at which ordinarily I would have told you not to do. You should allow private individuals to do so they can make money. From the rail station, they're going to put buses at the rail station that will pick passengers from into town and all. That's their business. That's what the government has to do. I'm sure that most other governors have one form of transportation policy or the other among themselves. For us, our job is to make policy for land transportation. I think that if you want to come to Abuja by flight from Warri, it's 60,000. But if you come, okay, so if you come by Warri, you enter at Abo or you enter at Warri to Itara, 2,500. 2,500. You come down, there's a bus or a taxi, 3,500 that brings you to Abuja in 1.5 hours. So if you put the money, 2,500 plus 3,500, that's 6,000. So if for those who have this plane, you have saved yourself how much? 50. Is it 50 something? 50,000. You have saved yourself 54,000. So the president, for those who don't like the president has put 54,000 naira in your pocket. You don't have to tell him thank you or give him some of it. At least give president 25,000 out of it. You are quite impressive. Because you say I've done nothing, that's what you're saying me. And at Abo, I hope you've seen that's the first railway yard in Nigeria. There is no other railway yard in Nigeria. The sentiment of where we come from should be set aside while we look at the economic benefits of what the Bible constructed. But Nigerians, we hardly think about Nigeria as a country. All of us, leaders and followers, we think about where you come from. You don't think about Nigeria, you think about Udime, where I come from Udime. Maybe since you come from Abo, think about Abo. So all the one, and the typical of you, most of us, is that if we can do rail from Abuja to Abo, we can solve the husband. You know when we met Maritime University, our position is that the master does not have the necessary reason to establish a university. There's no law backing the master to establish a university. They were forced by the previous government to establish that university. So let the Federal Ministry of Education take back that university and run it, right? Instead of doing that, they are making us spend money. We are still spending money on the Federal University of Maritime University. We are. The master is still funding them a bit. But the ones we're establishing is essentially the one we're establishing right, is to deal with the railway technology. Because if these Chinese dump this technology on us and leave, and we can't maintain it, we can't run it, we can't do anything, we're forced to go and call them back. So what I'm saying that before you go, teach our children. So as they graduate, you throw them back to the railway. I doubt how many universities have that discipline in Nigeria. So you that is the prophet, the man, the expert that is building this railway, go to China, get us experts that will teach our children this by establishing a university and qualifying them with a degree. Run the university for 5 years, right? Then you hand over to us, by which time you have trained the young men up to maybe master's degree level. Then they can come back and teach the new ones coming. While some of them will be told to go overseas again to do PhD in those their courses and come back and train. The essence of establishing universities is to be able to train the manpower that we need in the maintenance and sustenance of the railway technology. I'm the Minister for Transportation. I'm currently transporting people. That's what I'm doing. By God's grace, by God's grace, end 2023. When I finish, before that time, I'm saying Minister for Transportation until President Muhammadu gets tired of me and goes to years. I just think that anybody who is coming now, whether PDP or PC, should just try and conclude from where Buhari has stopped. What is making people criticize Buhari is because he's trying to move the economy from a rent culture economy, where you come to my office and you're living, I give you $50,000, you don't ask me where I get it from. So you go home, your wife 10,000, your girlfriend 5,000, see the difference, 10 and 5. Then you give your mother 10,000, your father 5,000, your father goes to the market, your mother goes to the market, buys a goosey, 1,000. The person who sells a goosey buys uniform for the children, 1,000. The person who sells uniform sees a doctor, 1,000. The doctor sees a carpenter. Well, see, that's the economy we were running before Buhari came in. And Buhari said, no, let's provide the necessary, what you can refer to as factors of production. So there's labor, there's capital, there is, there are three or four, but essentially infrastructure is in that facilitates development, like enables you to for instance, let's assume that you work in Abuja and you live in Abo. If you take that railway to Abuja, you can wake up at 6 and take a 6 o'clock train, and by 8 you're in Abuja. So you don't need to live in Abuja to be able to ply your trade in Abuja. So what we have done is that we have reduced the cost of you doing business in Abuja by providing you the facilities that takes you away from the house you have always lived in Abo to come to Abuja. So that's what makes Buhari think that, look, if we're not careful, Abuja will explode. So people now can live in Kaduna and come to work in Abuja. And by 6 p.m. they close for work. Or 4 p.m. there's a train by 4, there's a train by 6. They close by 4. By 6 they are at the train station, take a train and go home. The next morning, 5:30 they are at the train station, take another train by 6, they come to work. Now, we're thinking about it, we're going forward from Kaduna to Kano. So if we finish Kaduna to Kano, people can also live in Kano and come to work in Abuja. So what he's doing is what you can refer to as creating the conducive atmosphere for business to thrive. You get it? Now, we are therefore moving from a rent culture economy where you get cash. Instead of building infrastructure, we're giving you cash. And then you take the cash, you give, as the money is finishing, that's what brings the poverty. See, that's why you see the poverty, that's why you see the infrastructure, insecurity. Nobody was born to be a bandit or a Boko Haram activist or a thief. What compels people to steal or become bandits is the economy, is the environment. If the environment denies you the opportunity to go to school, your children are not in school, you can be employed, you don't have money to feed, what happens? You need to look for big men like you to return the money that people have stolen from government, which belongs to everybody. So that's why you see big men now too. They're not feeling comfortable to drive anywhere. They are 6 p.m. they're at home because they're afraid of the poor people that they have denied their right to exist. You get it? So that's what it is. That's what Buhari is trying to do. So if the next president comes and doesn't continue there and we go back to the rent culture, then the economy, after thanking God, we should thank Buhari for taking over. Because the economy will have crashed on us. Several years of running a rent culture economy. Rotimi Amaechi is a good man. Like some governors now. Say, I dash people $1 million, I dash people 500. That's your money. That's the money we have used to do roads. That's the money we have used to build schools. That's the money we have used to declare free education for the poor. That's what is given to one man. You get it? Yeah. And the society is not asking. I know what I call the society of hope. Oh, you don't want to make it still. I don't know, 4 years you go. When you go, another government will come. 4 years, you won't see a second term. Don't worry, Papa, but after 8 years. He goes in 8 years, another man comes, continues stealing. Well, we'll be here with it. That man will see what happened to them. You know, it's finished. But they are denying you that basic right to survival. Which government owes you? Nigerian elites are denying you that right. And the power to stop them does not rest in the police or rest in the army. It rests squarely on you. We're not in the country borrowing. America is borrowing. Everybody is borrowing. Well, even people are fighting government so badly, and government is careful of how much they borrow. Yes. If you go to, I'm trying hard not to call some countries. There's a country, they're doing extremely well, but all their projects are all dependent on loans. We built LNG on our own. We put our big LNG, it's low. They're building power stations, it's low. They're building railways, low. But the only place we are focusing on loan is the railway. And that's because you're fighting everybody. So the president has shut down everybody. Say, no, the only place I'll borrow money is railway. The problem we have in Nigeria is not the loan. The problem we have in Nigeria is revenue. We can't get revenue. If we get revenue, we'll pay off our loan. Yeah. If Nigeria had diversified the economy from the beginning, we wouldn't be here now. The better sources of raising money, the better source of raising funds today is oil. So again, that's why I talk about production. So the next president who is coming should focus on agriculture, should focus on power, because these are things that will help grow the economy. If you focus on agriculture, you create jobs, manual jobs, right? So you take a lot of people who are in the rural areas to go into agriculture. If they produce massively, you export. In fact, you should emphasize more on rice now, because the current rice we are producing is not enough for the Nigerian society. So if we continue massive production of rice, we produce enough for the Nigerian society and be able to export. When you start exporting, what do you bring in? Dollars. But the reason why you're not bringing in money is because you're not producing. So we are importing rice. People here. Yes. We're importing meat. We're importing fish. Until recently, we're importing eggs. So tell me where we need the money to pay. The solution to insecurity in the southeast, in the south is not this amnesty you're granting them. Because you're dashing people money for committing crimes. Those who committed crimes, right? If they were even a resistant group, then we can say, okay, let's deal with resistance and have a meeting with them. Till today, the breaking down of pipes still going on. Some people are saying, he saw BK and his, those are boys who work for PDP in those days. Now, so that's what the boys are claiming, right? So the boys are claiming that they work for their party. Now, but whether they work for their party or not, they are into, those boys are into, what's it called? they are still into oil bunkering, right? Now, the reason for which you are having that insecurity, the magnitude you are having it, is that over the years, the Nigerian elites have denied the poor facilities that will grow the economy and therefore create jobs for them. Because they were unemployed and Nigerian elites were sharing small money to them, it has come to a point where there's no money for even if we were interested in stealing money to give you, there's no money to steal. There has to be money to steal before we can steal. So if you say, but this government, all of us would have been thieves. Yes, we probably would have been thieves if there was money. Beyond the fact that the president does not condone corruption, right? Maybe one or two would have found a way to steal money. But the president doesn't condone corruption. But whether he condones corruption or not, one other avenue for which most people cannot even steal is there's no money to steal. So the little we have, the president is insisting you must use it, you must focus on development. Because for him, I can't forget what he tells me, or what he has told me before. How do you feel when you go to Cape Town? The president asked me before, how do you feel? How many of you have been to Cape Town? You've not. How does it look like? Like heaven. Yes. Exactly. So name one place that would have looked like heaven. Maybe Abuja, but because of insecurity, everybody is now living in Abuja. So when you go to the side outside Abuja, you see ramshackle, the shanties, everything. It's not saying Cape Town. You should be proud to be a Nigerian by getting your government and your elites to leave your money alone, use it for development. We need everybody to be educated, just like in Tunisia. So what you're having now is that public schools are not functioning. Big men are creating private schools for themselves and for their children, or take them overseas. You get it? So when those children come back, they can't fit into the Nigerian society, because Nigerian society is essentially a society where it's predominated by mostly poor. So you now bring a rich man's son, who has a mentality of affluence. He doesn't fit in. Okay, in this government, have you used Lagos Ibadan? Yes. Have you used it? How do you feel? Is that not the fulfillment of that statement? So people who are working, who are doing trade, who are farming around that area can enter trade and go and do their business and fend for themselves. We're going to employ over nearly 1,000 persons on that track. So what else now? How do I fulfill that statement?